Let the lords of liberation issue forth. Let them bring succor to the sons of mankind. Let the rider from the secret place come forth, and come say, "Come forth, O Mighty One." Let the souls of mankind awaken to the light, and may they stand with massed intent. Let the fiat of the Lord go forth. The end of the woe has come. Come forth, O Mighty One. The hour of service of the saving force has now arrived. Let it be spread abroad, O Mighty One. Let light and love and power and death fulfill the purpose of the coming one.
Okay, all right. Thank you all for attending. Yep. I'm going to be teaching quite a bit today about Elon Musk, your planetary king. Let's check out what I have for you today. Check this out. This is just part of his Elon situation, but let's just look at what he's doing in Wisconsin. Right now, he's trying to control governments all around the world, all around the world. And he has set himself up to be a second president in the United States. And he is passing judgment over our government and cutting and slashing and making decisions, and the advisor to the president of the United States. But he's doing this all because he's a Nazi. And he has strong ambition to be the world teacher, right? No question about it. And he's not going to be elected. He's just going to rule. Yeah, check this out.
There's been like this real uprising around people.
Wisconsin.
Country and what's happening through Wisconsin.
What's happening in the Wisconsin Supreme Court race? Elon Musk is trying to buy it. Yeah, the same guy running the freak show in Washington. The same guy hurting American farmers. The same guy who wants to end your Social Security. The guy who's in business with the Chinese Communist Party.
The government's one big pyramid scheme, if you ask me.
Yeah, well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Now he's here, handing out cash to voters. Corruption. Outside influence. It's not about Wisconsin making us safer, getting us out of this crazy trade war. It's just another rich guy trying to make you into a puppet, a pawn, to keep his pet judge on the bench. It's weird. It's corrupt. It's Musk. And it sure as hell isn't to help Wisconsin.
So good, right? I mean, that's just such a great message. And this Instagram account, a friend of mine, Kate Duffy, on the account Motherhood for Good, released this reel, and I thought it was excellent. It's such a great point. There's been like this real uprising around people, especially in Wisconsin, saying we're not going to let a billionaire buy our election. And I think what he's doing in Wisconsin is actually eventually going to backfire. I think what he's going to do is he's going to make normal people realize that they don't want this guy to decide what's going on in their state. He doesn't even live in Wisconsin. It's only because he wants to continue to control every level of government. But Elon Musk was heckled at this event, and let's just see how he handled it.
The federal government, like shocking, really. It's insane. Yeah, it's really wild. So, I mean, it was inevitable that at least a few Soros operatives would be in the audience. Give my regards to George. Say hi to George from me.
So what he's saying there is that everyone who is protesting him is paid by another billionaire, which to me means that Elon Musk must be paying people to protest other people, because every accusation is a confession. But I think he just cannot fully comprehend the fact that these folks are not paid. They are there because they generally hate him and what he's doing to the country. Look at all of these people. And I just typed Tesla protest into Blue Sky, and there are protests happening all across the country. Look at that. And the world.
500 protests throughout last week daily. 500. That's quite a lot. Yep. What about this?
But recently he's decided to take his political project global, backing far-right parties in many other countries and using his massive platform to attack anyone who doesn't share his views. Let's start with Germany. In December, Musk publicly endorsed the German Alternative for Deutschland, or AfD, a far-right political party with deep ties to the neo-Nazi movement. Its founder and former leader, Alexander Golan, has said that Germany should be proud of its soldiers in the world wars and that people should no longer reproach Germans for World War II. Another prominent AfD leader openly plays with Nazi themes, shouting at meetings, "Everything for Germany," a Nazi stormtrooper slogan banned in Germany. As recently as 2023, AfD members participated in a secret meeting in Potsdam that included neo-Nazis, where they discussed a mass deportation plan for, quote, non-assimilated Germans.
Neo-Nazi. Neo-Nazi. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. Do we really want someone running our entire country? Yeah. A Nazi. Yeah. Not just a Nazi, not just a Nazi, but this is a king. A king. He believes he's a king. There's no doubt about it. How does he get this? How does he get this? Well, let's check it out.
Have no connection to South Africa. They're born and grow up in Canada. And in the 1930s, the grandfather, Joshua Haldeman, he's head of the Canadian branch of a US movement called Technocracy Incorporated. And Technocracy Incorporated is essentially a movement to overthrow democratic government in the United States and have technocrats, but big businessmen in many ways, come in and run the country. Through the 1930s, it takes on increasingly fascist overtones. They start wearing grey uniforms, modelled on the Nazi brown and black shirts. And so when Canada declares war on Germany in 1939 alongside Britain, the movement is banned because it's clearly sympathetic to Hitler. Elon Musk's grandfather is arrested. They find documents sympathetic to the Nazis and other subversive documents inside his house, and he is sent to prison for a few months and then remains on essentially a subversion watch list for the rest of the war. Yeah, so he's basically regarded as a Nazi sympathizer, a fellow traveler.
So Elon's grandfather was a Nazi, yeah, just like Trump's. Trump's grandfather was a Nazi, KKK Nazi. Went to jail for it. Elon's grandfather went to prison, yeah, for being a Nazi. So Elon's a Nazi, yeah. But he's more than just a Nazi. During the time of Hitler, the technocrats, yeah, which is an underlying purpose in a government, yeah, to establish a government by having only engineers and very smart people running the government. So they wouldn't be voted in, yeah, and they would bring themselves into the government, manipulate themselves in position in the government, which happened to Hitler. The number one person that was hung, after Hitler, and they were caught, was Hitler's aide. Yeah, he was just like Elon. Yeah, he was the confidant to Hitler. Yeah, and he was a special assistant in relationship to giving direction or ideas. Yeah, just like Elon is with Trump. So this is what happened during Hitler's process, and a man named Eichmann. Now, Eichmann was the guy I'm talking about, who was very close to Hitler, and he himself was a technocrat. And just like Elon, who is a technocrat. But I'll show you how much Elon is a technocrat. Yeah. But in Hitler's period, he had a person standing next to him, like a second president, and his name was Eichmann.
Say that he's a technocrat. So what is a technocrat? And it's somebody who's hired for their expertise, their technical expertise in something, which could be just plain management. It could be some technical aspect of making things happen. Of course, Eichmann, his technical expertise was getting populations from one place to another with these trains, managing the people that help force the emigration or force the evacuation in his case. And technocrats are essentially unelected bureaucrats, where they can exist inside corporations, they can exist inside not-for-profits, they of course can exist within the government, but oftentimes they're making some decision that does affect larger ranges of people. Like it's a collective decision that affects people collectively, but it's made from the standpoint of this cog inside a bigger machine. And the cog in the machine analogy, it's one of the big themes of the book.
So now you understand that technocracy is Nazism. Yeah, just another word made up by smarter guys. Technology, engineers. Yeah, they rule. They rule. And his grandfather was the person who established technocracy, yeah, in South Africa at the apartheid. And he left Canada because he went to prison for being a Nazi as a technocrat. So when he went to South Africa, he incorporated technocracy and reestablished it there, which became the apartheid. So let's look at Elon and his relationship to being a technocrat. Now, is he a technocrat? Yes, he is. And what does that mean? That means he's a Nazi, 100% a Nazi. But his energy, its design, is to take over the world, focusing upon America. The key to it is that their design is that you have to include Canada, Mexico, all of Central America, and South America. So it becomes one large continental mass. And then they establish themselves around the world in Europe and Asia, ruling the world. So Elon is a technocrat. But what kind of technocrat? I mean, is he just a Nazi believer? Or is he a ruler? A ruler? A Hitler? A Heinemann? Well, let's find out.
Tunnels on Mars that Wernher von Braun said the Elon was in charge of.
Because people couldn't live on the surface because the surface...
So, first of all, this is about a book by Wernher von Braun. It's called The Mars Project, written in 1948, published in 1950. And in that, he wrote how, technologically, we would go to Mars. And in that book, he writes that there's already people on Mars, and they're technocrats. And they live in tunnels on Mars. And the leader of that, there's a series of leaders, a group, a court, like maybe 5 or 10. And in that, a central person every 5 years takes position like a president. And that instead of being called a president, they are called a elon. Elon, of all things. Huh? So that is a king. Elon is a king.
This is so hostile. So this entire society on Mars that they discovered when humans got there was living underground in these tunnels.
That's right, living underground in these tunnels, which tells you that even back then, Wernher von Braun knew that trying to colonize Mars was not going to happen unless somehow you were able to create a subterranean world, right?
Right.
One other thing that I think is important to understand is that this colony underground was a technocracy. So it was, the Elon was basically the dictator, but his court of jesters, as it were, and people around him were all technocrats, engineers and scientists, etc., because he considered those people to be the only people who really should be involved in such, difficult.
It was kind of a benevolent dictatorship, essentially.
Exactly, and something to know about Elon Musk is that his maternal grandfather, Joshua Haldeman, was literally the leader of a pro-Hitler fascist movement in the 30s and 40s called Technocracy, Inc. You can, this again, it's crazy. You can look it up. And what?
Okay, now I hope you're paying attention, because this is important. His grandfather created a corporation called Technocracy, Inc. in South Africa, which is a Nazi party. He creates that, which establishes technocracy in the world. His grandfather, of all people.
They did, what they wanted was a society that was ruled by technocrats, by engineers and scientists, etc.
Just like the society on Mars in this novel run by the Elon.
Exactly. One thing to know also about Elon Musk, to give you an idea of how sort of deep this goes with him, is that on his SEC filings for Tesla, he's not the CEO, he's not the CTO, he's the Technoking of Tesla. Literally, that's his title, according to the Security and Exchange Commission. And
so you really got to take this in consideration. The man is walking around in a delusion of grandeur. Everything he's carrying out is to fulfill that delusion of grandeur, which is take over the Earth and Mars and anything he wants. Anything. And there's no process of construct here. Yeah, this is get rid of all the people and move on. Yeah, kill the Earth, steal all its money, take all of everything, wait for a great disaster. And you and the rest of the rich and wealthy and engineers jump on your rockets and go on to Mars and colonize. This is the most Antichrist, ungodly scenario that anything in our human reality could ever take place. This is it. This is the peak. This is it. This is how bad it can get. It's bad enough he deludes himself to think that you would agree to go to Mars. But if you listen to him, he'll say, well, it's not like I'm wealthy enough to take you to Mars. He points out he has to rule the earth and get all the governments of the earth to finance his project to Mars. He says that no other space program goes anywhere without governmental support and financing. So he's saying, go to Mars, go to Mars, go to Mars. But he's not saying he's going to do it. He's saying he's going to get you to do it. Pay for it. Everything. All the grants that he's done is your tax dollars. That pays for SpaceX. It pays for the cars. It pays for everything. He is the number one person in our United States who receives money from these grants. He's not self-supported by selling a lot of cars. Every one of the Starlinks he puts up costs $1,200, and he only charges $500 because you won't pay $1,200. You're not stupid. He puts out 46,000 of these satellites. Near orbit. Near orbit. In other words, they're the closest thing to Earth. In other words, they're going to fall out of orbit quicker than anything else. So every 5 years, he has to replace them. That's 45. 2 times 45. That's 90. 90,000 of these things. Well, what happens when they start falling out? When they start falling, they turn into bullets. Bullets. Melted down bullets. And you could take a 3-inch thick piece of steel, and that bullet will go through it. 90,000 of these things hanging out over us, ready to come down. He says every 5 years they have to be replaced. That means over a 5-year period, we're shot by 40,000 bullets that penetrate 3-inch steel walls, let alone you or your house or your car. They haven't started coming down yet, but they will. They will. And there's no way to avoid it. You can't buy something to protect yourself. You can't drive a Tesla Cybertruck and think that that's going to keep you protected from the Starlinks that are falling out of the sky. Truth is the truth. You're all going to be there in 5 years. They're going to start coming down like little rockets. 40,000 of them. Amazing.
Tunnels on Mars that Wernher von Braun said the Elon was in charge of.
Because people couldn't live on the surface because the surface is so hostile. So this entire society on Mars that they discovered when humans got there was living underground in these tunnels.
Right. That's right, living underground in these tunnels, which tells you that even back then, Wernher von Braun knew that trying to colonize Mars was not going to happen unless somehow you were able to create a subterranean world, right?
Right.
One other thing that I think is important to understand is that this colony underground was a technocracy. So it was The Elon was basically the dictator, but his court of jesters, as it were, and people around him were all technocrats, engineers and scientists, etc.
So this is not a prophecy. Yeah. God exists. God exists. And God puts things out all throughout time to help humanity as a revelation, to help catch conspiracies and greed and corruption, or they just get away with it. But God sets it up. And there's no planning. You know, Werner von Braun had no plan to do this for God. No plan to prophesy the coming of Elon Musk. Nothing like that. But the way God works, it's a revelation for my teaching, for your education, so we can witness the evil ongoing actions of these fallen angels and their activity on this planet at this time, which is really a heavy time. We have another fallen angel, Trump, who's putting tariffs on every country. And we're just at a point to where, you know, oh, that's going to be a tax and they're going to pay and we're going to be better and all that. And it's not true. You know, everything will be so much more. Things you can normally buy today, you won't be able to buy tomorrow. You want to fix something in your car, you can't because the parts are from Canada or Mexico. And they always have been. International trade requires these sort of things. We work together in cooperation to fulfill shipping and buying and building, providing materials and all kinds of things like parts for cars that manufacturers just simply can't do because they don't have the aluminum. They don't have the materials to do it. But in Canada they did, or in Mexico they do, or in China they do. So we work with our allies. We work with trade. It's normal. It creates a happy world, sustainable world, a world that keeps growing as we keep developing. But not in this case. Oh, greedy Trump wants to take advantage and get everybody's money. He wants to call Panama America. He wants to call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. He wants Canada to be the 51st state. He wants Greenland to be part of our country. Why not? Why not? Let's take Japan too. That's a nice place. It's insane. It's insane. You know. So you got to stand up and listen to this. This is the absolute externalization of the Antichrist. Your grandmother, your grandfather, your children, all your pharmaceutical prices that were brought down are going to go up. People are going to start dying dramatically because they simply haven't got the medical care. All the funding for that sort of thing is gone now. Housing will be so much more. You can't even live in the state of Florida because you can't buy insurance because of what I said. I said that we are having a greenhouse effect. And it will have a major effect on the earth. And certain locations of the earth will get hit worse. Florida being one of those locations. It will have devastating weather changes. It will have all kinds of floods. It will have tornadoes. Because of that, the rebuilding and infrastructure process, the insurance companies can't afford it. Simply because you can't make a decision not to live there. Live somewhere else because we are in a climate change. But Elon Musk and Trump both want you to deny that, and took away the EPA, took away all kinds of things that would protect us, help us. Puts us back in about 1940s, before we had seatbelts on cars. That's where Elon's taken us. Look at that Cybertruck. He made it possible so that every car that he builds never gets a safety check by the government. They have their own independent safety checks. Oh yeah, this Cybertruck, super safe. Yeah, we like it. You'll like it too. Well, that's not true. It's not true. There was a young boy who graduated school just last year. He got his Cybertruck, and he was driving too fast. And he ran into a wall and a tree. And the Cybertruck is made so that you can't get out of it if you get in a crash. Everything is electronic. The door opener is electronic. If the electrics go out, you can't open the door. So all these people tried to help those kids get out of that burning car, and they couldn't do it. Because Elon Musk set it up. Safety features are gone. There's no latch, no mechanical control to open that door. Well, even the windows won't break. And they tried so hard many times to break those windows to let those 3 kids out of the car. And they all died. Window won't break, door won't open. All decisions made by Elon Musk. He kills people without any conscience whatsoever. He thinks the people who died are conspiracy Democrats. They set it up like suicide or something just to get at him. It's insane.
But recently he's decided to take his political project global, backing far-right parties in many other countries and using his massive platform to attack anyone who doesn't share his views. Let's start with Germany. In December, Musk publicly endorsed the German Alternative for Deutschland, or AfD, a far-right political party with deep ties to the neo-Nazi movement. Its founder and former leader, Alexander Golan, has said that Germany should be proud of its soldiers in the world wars and that people should no longer reproach Germans for World War II. Another prominent AfD leader openly plays with Nazi themes, shouting at meetings, "Everything for Germany," a Nazi stormtrooper slogan banned in Germany. As recently as 2023, AfD members participated in a secret meeting in Potsdam that included neo-Nazis, where they discussed a mass deportation plan for, quote, non-assimilated Germans.
Sound familiar? I mean, just open your brain up. I'm not even asking you to open your heart. Just open your brain up for a second. They tell you these people from Mexico are murderers, rapists, drug addicts, killers, the lowest of lows pieces of shit. But yet, they are the people who work in your farm, people who serve you at the restaurant, people who cook for you at almost all the restaurants in America. People who do jobs that white people just simply don't see themselves able to do due to pride or vanity. Most people aren't willing to take anything less than $15 an hour. These people, they want to work. That's all there is to it. They just want to work. provide for their family. They're not out to rape people or harm people or bring drugs to make drug addicts of everybody. It's just not true. You need to get your head straight, clearly. Because over the next 6 months, you're going to see how these wonderful people, these immigrants, like your mother and your father and your grandfather, are good people. They come here because God tells them to come here. But, you know, people like Elon Musk don't believe in things like that. No. These are evil people. There's no God in their life. Why, they don't even have $1 million. People right now are standing up against Elon Musk. And he says they're doing it because some rich guy hates them and is competing with them. But you know better. 46,000 Cybertrucks have been recalled. That's every single Cybertruck that's out there was recalled. Why? Because the panels are put on with glue. And when you're driving down the road, they start flopping off. And then, whoosh, there they go. And you're driving around with panels flopping around. Side panels, front panels, rear panels. So all the panels have to be replaced. 46,000 of them have to be recalled. You don't think there's somebody out there picketing Elon Musk because of that? There are people who bought stock in Elon Musk. And he keeps saying it's going to go up to $500, $600. Buy my stock. His stock has gone from $450 to $220. That means millions of people are losing money.
His head, and I just don't see him.
Today we're swapping the.
And he's one of the most powerful people in the world now, and it's definitely gotten to his head, and I just don't see him changing and going back. I actually think he's completely neglecting Tesla at this point.
So that raises another interesting issue, which is, do they have a succession plan there? I'm not saying he's going to leave Tesla, but does he have people to mind the store while he's gone?
Well, this is exactly why I'm upset, because all the people that were minding the store from 2 years ago got fired. And there's a whole new team of people running Tesla at this
So who this is, he's the number 1 shareholder of Tesla. He owns like 500,000 shares. And, and there's quite a few people that are in that position because they buy stock. And Tesla was a good stock. But now he's finding he's lost over probably having 500,000 in shares, and say it's $100 a share. Yeah. That's $1 million. No, that's $1 billion. So anyway, that's a lot. Divide that in half. Cut that in half. That's what happened to this man in less than a month. He had a value of over $1 billion. But he has half that now because of Elon Musk, solely because of Elon Musk. And there are tens of thousands of people out there having the same experience. You don't think there's any of those people that are going out there picketing? Burning Teslas? Having a different attitude around Elon Musk.
Critical period of time. And so he's made himself indispensable for Tesla. The team before with Drew and Zach and Martin, they easily could have been running Tesla and doing a great job. And if anything, I think Elon should appoint a new CEO to run Tesla so that he can just focus on what he's doing in the government and also separate himself from Tesla, which is this great company that's trying to solve climate change, is now associated with Elon in such a negative fashion that it's destroying the sales of their main product, which is selling EVs. So, something's got to change, and I think it's going to happen this year. And he's one of the most powerful.
So all of you will see that the cost of living is going to go up beyond belief. And Tesla cars will not be sold this next year. It will go down in over 70% in sales around the world. You have a factory in Germany. It provides less than 50% of what it should provide.
Two fronts. One, its car factory in Germany, it's running at only about 50% capacity. So it's well under its production capacity, which means it's definitely inefficient. Now, I know some Tesla fans won't like that, but that's actually true. In addition to that, a lot of the staff that work at that factory often don't turn up. It's sort of a big problem within Germany's economy. And many CEOs of other car companies and other businesses in Germany have noted this is a significant issue. Now, though, Tesla employees in Germany are demanding better working conditions. I'm curious to know if these are some of the ones who haven't turned up for 3 months or not. But anyway, I'm sure most of them are not. This is putting pressure on Elon Musk and on Tesla. They're contending with a sales slump already in Europe. And now workers are saying, well, actually, we want big changes immediately.
So Elon is begging his employees, please don't sell. Don't sell your stock. Keep your stock. Yeah. But he's losing. He's losing in sales dramatically. Germany is building only 50% of its capacity. China has no longer accepted sales of Teslas in China. Canada no longer accepts sales of Tesla in Canada. Why? Because a few months ago, Elon Musk decided to claim 43,000 sales of Tesla cars in a 72-hour period out of 4 different dealerships in Canada, and to present those rebates to Canada for $43 million payback. Well, that didn't work. Canada immediately put a halt on that and said, we will investigate every single sale and verify every single sale. And we will not allow you to have any further rebates whatsoever. Nor will we buy any more of your cars and bring them here to Canada to sell. And we will cancel the multi-million-dollar Starlink that we have set up in a contract because of the tariffs and other circumstances Trump is doing. Those are enormously hitting Tesla beyond belief. So Wells Fargo has just recently come out saying that they don't see the stock in Tesla going up. They see it going down to $130 by next month. That's a heck of a thing. Right now it's $230, $250. it'll be 130. 2 months ago, it was 450. This is a major, major loss. Hundreds of billions of dollars. Elon Musk, his entire wealth is based on that stock. If that stock at $450 a share, owning so much stock, he has about $120 billion worth of wealth. But let's cut that down. Rather than $450, it's worth $130. Well, his wealth goes down to just under $1 billion. $1 billion. That's a fact. Not only is he going to be hurting, but you're going to be hurting. Because eggs and milk and all the things from farms and all the things that you would normally get from Canada or Mexico or China or all these places, we have tariffs. They're going to shut off the spigot. Up in the upper coast of America, Canada is going to turn off the electricity. What do you think that's going to do to industry and everybody? Where are you going to get your electricity? You're not going to get it from Canada anymore. Where all the fuel, the aluminum, all the things that you need from Canada, nope, skip it. Figure it out, according to Trump. And Trump is so stupid. He's so stupid. He puts a tariff on a truck manufacturing plant in Canada. In his mind, he's thinking, well, just move it to America. I'm going to make America great. I'm going to destroy Canada and Mexico. And I'll force them to spend all that money they don't have anymore. And put all that money they don't have anymore into building manufacturing plants they can't do because they don't have the money to do it. And they built the manufacturing plants near the source, like the aluminum and things like that. Smart. It's what you do. Cuts cost. But not to Trump. Nah. Build it here. We'll just ship 3 or 4 different levels more than we have to now, which is very easy and fluid. And it costs us so much more forever. Our cost of living today will never be seen again for at least 2 years. So get your act together. And know what you're going to do tomorrow. Get into a lifestyle to where you will not be hit by this. Okay, let's do a prayer meditation. A soul, I walk on earth. Just remember, this is King Trump and King Musk. And they've been planning this for quite a while. This is a couple years ago when this statue was first built. To assimilate humanity into the thought form of the fact that they really are here. But try and remember that there is a hierarchy in the White Lodge, a Christ-driven manifestation of humanity. And they're rare groups of people. They reincarnate in order to do good, in order to serve humanity, in order to keep the lifestyle flowing from life after life after life. So remember that. I'm here, and all the rest of us are here. Millions and millions and millions of us keep reincarnating. And we're the fellowship of God. There's without a doubt the corruption and the evil that these creeps are doing. But there's all the rest of us, and we need to stand up. We are definitely the meek who will inherit this earth. But we need to stand up, and we are. Thousands and thousands of people are destroying Tesla dealerships, cars, and Elon Musk. More and more people are turning against Trump and the Tariffs and the horrible ways treating humanity. So just remember, you are the hierarchy, the relationship to humanity, a higher relationship rather than a low relationship like Trump and corruption and stealing, being greedy and corrupt and mean. That's just who these people are.
There are times when I have...
One of the other things I want to show you is that, before we do this meditation, is that Elon Musk is a drug addict on a lot of different drugs. But the main one that he takes is ketamine.
There are times when I have, I don't know, like a negative chemical state in my brain, like depression, I guess.
No, I am not the evil. I just misunderstood.
I try to convince people to slow down AI. This was futile.
There are people who say the company cannot survive with you.
That's hilarious.
Do you ever worry that this may get in the way of your government contracts and clearances? And all that.
Called a diver of the Thai cave rescue a pedo.
Somebody's gonna try to blackmail me with advertising? Blackmail me with money? Yourself.
You don't talk me, not right.
And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
Go yourself.
That seems a little bit like either superhero or supervillain. You have to choose one.
What do you think, supervillain or superhero?
But you've admitted that you have a ketamine prescription.
Yeah.
What's that for?
Well, I mean, it's pretty private to ask somebody about a medical prescription, you know. But I think it's something I'd say, like, there are times when I have sort of, I don't know, like a negative chemical state in my brain, like depression, I guess, you know, or like depression that's not linked to any negative views, and then ketamine is helpful for getting one out of a negative frame of mind.
Well, listen,
in fact, I generally, obviously I'm not a doctor, but I would say if someone has depression issues, they should consider talking to their doctor about ketamine instead of SSRIs.
Listen, I think that ketamine and drug therapy is increasingly becoming more in the mainstream.
Yeah.
Do you think you're doing it under a doctor's care, right?
Yeah. Literally a prescription from a real doctor, not like, you know.
Yeah, but do you feel like you ever abuse it?
I don't think so. If you use too much ketamine, you can't.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's the thing. With ketamine, it's easily addictive. The high to it makes you feel like you're God, that you have delusions of grandeur in many different ways. And that fits this man's character. And he's been doing it for a couple years and quite consistently. So the person that we see is a person on ketamine and the after effects of using ketamine for quite a while. So just keep your head clear. You know, this is not what you think it is. You know, the President of the United States is a cocaine addict. You know, he snorts Sudafed and cocaine and is drinking Diet Cokes like a dozen a day. He is an addict. And Elon Musk is an addict. Yeah. And they're not in any position to be doing what they're doing to the world, to your grandfather, your grandmother, to your children, to the veterans. The horrifying things they are doing to this world, they're doing because they don't care and they're just partying. And they're using your soul to party. Let's meditate.
I am a messenger of light. I am a pilgrim on the way of love. I do not walk alone, but I know myself as one with all great souls, and one with them in service. Their strength is mine. This strength I claim. My strength is theirs, and this I freely give. A soul, I walk on earth. I represent the One. The will of God moves the world. The past has gone. I am that past. It makes me what I am. The future comes. I also am the coming destiny, and therefore I am that. The present flows from out the past. The future colors that which is. I make the future also by my present knowledge of the past and the beauty of the present. And therefore I am that I am. Within the circle of the will of God I stand. Without the radius of the world of glamour I take my place. And there I stand. Before the open door that just reveals a different lighted way, I take my stand. Before the presence, I will take my place, and there will firmly stand. And stand I see. Love is the incentive of our aspiration on the path. Love is the substance of our living in the world. Love is the light and the light of freedom from all creatures. Love pulses through the universe in a divine rhythm. Love is the consciousness of God. May the holy ones whose disciple I am show me the light I seek. May all mankind, may all humanity of all knowledge, may all light on earth make manifest the soul in all things, all life. I invoke the radiant golden sun to manifest the thread of the soul into the kingdoms of the elementals, into the kingdoms of the vegetables, the animals, into the astral plane. I invoke all humanity to become the caretakers of the kingdom of God. I invoke the will of God as the soul. I stand before the judgment seat of my soul. I am that soul. All love and light am I serve the world and lose myself in service. This is my life, and this is the way that I will tread until the day be with us all. Consciousness of humanity, the family of humanity, to bring forth points of energy within themselves, inaugurating certain new techniques in work and in modes of communication. I invoke the group of telepathic communicators. I invoke the group of trained observers. I invoke the group of magnetic healers. I invoke the group of the educators of this new age. I invoke the group of political organizers. I invoke the group of the workers in the field of religion. I invoke the group of scientific servers. I invoke the group of psychologists. I invoke the group of financiers and economists. I invoke all creative workers as the new group. I invoke the externalization of the inner existing of conditions within these groups through the manifestation and the externalization of the avatar.
Okay, just take it easy. All the pictures that I was showing, such as this one here, this is part of our service. We travel all over the earth, usually all sacred sites. This is a Tibetan monastery in Nepal, and we're with Logan Tuku, which is one of the highest Rinpoches in Tibetan Buddhism. He goes all the way back to the time of Sakyamuni in his reincarnation status. And my wife Tara, next to me, we travel everywhere. We always do everything together because we are a supportive Sangha. You know, we establish everything that I do in a supportive system. I'm very much the initiator. I know what's going on. I know where we're going and why we're doing what we're doing. You know, and she very much comes through the process of being able to be revealed these things and comes to understand them and support them and help me work through this process of defending the earth from the Dark Lodge. You know, so here you can see that we have opportunities where we can pass on Vajras to the King of England, and myself sitting in Srinagar, in meditation for months, in order to raise up humanity back in the 90s. This is Tara and I again with another great Lama from Nepal who I've known for probably around 20 years, on and off, So our relationship, the White Lodge relationship, the hierarchy, is standing next to all of humanity. And there isn't anything in humanity that I'm not aware of that throughout time. I was born in 1951. I was on top of every president and worked with every single one from, you name it. Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon. I was there. I was part of it. So my work is to help and increase the light that comes from God onto the earth. And so my great deal of relationships are based on finding reincarnated high masters that reincarnate like Logantuku. I help them when they're really small children after their death process and finding their body, coming back into their relationships of their monasteries and helping them in their relationship of being able to fund and support their monastery while they're very, very little and unable to do so. So I make sure that the gaps are not filled in by Dark Lodge lies and false prophets. I try and catch as many of the tukus as they're leaving their body and help them back into their body and make sure that the support system of this tree of life is sustained. And that's my life. That's what I do. And so in all of this, you have the structure of the hierarchy emanating and illuminating humanity. So if you apply yourself, do good, watch my videos, be in relationship with me and Tara, you will receive the blessings that comes from this group, the group of the hierarchy, and the work that we do, the mass work that we do, which will collectively become greater and greater and more overshadowing the process of this planet as the Antichrist becomes more and more empowered by humanity's delusions and lack of ability to discern, discriminate. So they fall into cults one after another. It's been the history of humanity all along. So I want you to do your best to attend my classes, as you are today, and learn what it is I have to share with you, because it's important. It's pretty timely, it's up to date, it's what we're going through right now, and give you a bit of information as to what we're probably going to go through in the future and why we went through what we did. So next Sunday I'll be back and I'll be sharing with you my understanding and my view and help you to bring yourself up to the level that it requires for the heart and the soul and the mind to be able to vanquish these creatures and help to support the whole of humanity to stand up for human rights and love and compassion and empathy. So again, thank you very much for attending. And I will be back again on Sunday. And we have a Dharshan coming up, so don't forget, it's in June, and it's again very important. Every 3 months a Dharshan, so prepare yourself. Make sure that you're able to cover the offering. Make sure that it's not a big heavy burden on you. If you know well in advance and you try and do a little at a time, it won't be that big of a deal. But you'll be able to attend more comfortably with more grace. So I hope that you'll be here. on next Sunday, and I will see you every Sunday. And on the Dharshan day, let's get those numbers up into the 200, 300s, and that would just be fantastic for the world. All right? So thank you very much. Blessings to all of you, your family, and your loved ones.